Defenders, Season 1. I assume they're gonna have another season. So the Defenders is ultimately the Avengers of the Netflix Marvel properties. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, they have all come together to stop the super secret baddies from being, you know, bad. You've heard from Stick that the fight for New York is coming. You've heard the Hand is gonna make their move. Now the Hand is making their move. Now, full disclosure, I watched half of Luke Cage before I actually moved down to Los Angeles. Kind of threw a wrench in my time. However, I heard from a lot of people that at a point in Luke Cage, you can stop watching and it's fine. And I got to about there, so I was like, all right, I feel like it's fine. But to me, Luke Cage wasn't as good as Jessica Jones or Daredevil. So when I heard Iron Fist just straight up wasn't good, I felt like I was watching some sort of decline, so I never actually watched Iron Fist. And that's one of the things I liked about the Defenders. As interwoven as it was to Iron Fist's story, I never felt lost. I feel like they fill you in just fine in here. And I like the ensemble because everybody has their different reasons, different motivations for being here. Luke Cage is straight up like, I'm just a good guy and I want to save lives, and if people are in danger, it's my moral obligations, my responsibility to take part, so we're gonna fight these guys. Iron Fist is like, it's straight up my destiny. It's my calling. Of course I need to fight these guys. Daredevil's a little more complicated. He does feel an urge, a calling to be the Daredevil. But after Daredevil Season 2, it looks like he has put the costume aside. It was a phase in his life that's now over. But like Batman in The Dark Knight Returns, he feels the fire burning in him. He's like, I'm Daredevil. Let's stop the Hand. Jessica Jones is straight up like, I'm not a hero. I don't give a fuck about being a hero. I don't give a shit about these guys. Now, like before, I'm chasing a trail for my client and it's led me here. So everyone's different perspective and how they view this situation is really what makes the Defenders fly for me. Also, I like Sigourney Weaver in here. Sigourney Weaver is the head of the Hand. She's the big baddie. And really, you feel her desperation. She's desperate to succeed at what they're trying to do, which creates some tension among the ranks of the Hand. But I like the fact that they have a villain who's not just like, I'm doing baddie things for baddie reasons because this is a comic book story and well, I'm bad. I do like the fact they shaved this season down to 8 episodes. Usually these Netflix Marvel properties are about, I believe it's 13 episodes. And every time I'm always like, that could have been 10 episodes. It would have been fine. I hate it when shows draw it out because they're like, we need to fill the gap. We need to fill up the time somehow. We need to puff up our season. This one doesn't feel so puffed up. In fact, if it were a couple episodes more, it could have gone for that. I feel like 10 episodes. That's the zone they should hit for any of these Marvel Netflix properties. Half the fighting in the show looked really great. The other half of the fighting was filmed in a dark room with a bunch of close-ups and a bunch of cuts, which makes it feel like they're trying to hide the stunt people. Whenever that happened, it just irritated the shit out of me. I was like, it looks like TV fighting. Some of the other fighting segments though, or at least the shots among the fighting scenes, a long cut, a long pan, it looked really good. If they could just do more of that for the next time, it'd be good. It really does revolve around Matt Murdock though, which makes sense. His seasons are the best of the Netflix Marvel properties. He was the one who started it out. He's the most fleshed out. So they'll fill you in with Iron Fist. Luke Cage, you get the gist. You don't need to see Jessica Jones, but Daredevil seasons 1 and 2, you should. However, by the end of this season, I feel like the stakes that were so big near the beginning, it fizzled out by the end. Right here, I'm gonna put a spoiler warning. I'm gonna talk about the end. Not like the very end, but really the villains, the motivation, the Hand, what they're doing. Spoiler warning, you've been warned, let's talk about it. So through Daredevil, Stick has always been like, the Hand's coming, the fight for New York is upon us. You're like, oh, the fight for New York, holy shit, this Hand is gonna make a straight up big move. And while they do a big thing, which is the reason you should watch Daredevil, because it ties into that, I feel like by the end, there's no big fight for New York that's going down. When you hear Stick talking in the Daredevil series, you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be like Ra's al Ghul. And even in the beginning of the Defenders, it starts out with an earthquake, and you're like, oh, they're just gonna raise the city to the ground. They compare it to Pompeii, you really feel like Ra's al Ghul is gonna come in here and be like, all right, time for New York to crumble. And in the end, the crumbling of New York is possible, and they're willing to do it as a byproduct to get what they want. But in the end, they want to do it if they can't open this door, which by the end, they do open. And what's behind that door? The elixir of life, essentially. Yeah, the Hand is really old. Super old. Again, very comparable to the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul. But at that point, it really does diffuse a lot of the tension, a lot of the danger. You have what you want in the form of dinosaur bones or dragon bones. I know it's more important. So all these promises of the war for New York is coming. They're coming. People are in danger. They're really not. I mean, the Hand has had this elixir harvested from these dragon bones all their lives. So worst case scenario, the Hand gets this thing and everyone just kind of lives the lives they've been living. Granted, they are super corrupt people, so it would be best if they weren't around. But if the Defenders are fighting for the well-being of the citizens of New York, well, they're not really in danger. That's how it felt for me anyway. It just really diffused a lot of the danger and tension. It came down to a personal thing where it's like, we don't want you to be immortal because we're the Defenders. If the danger of the Hand still destroying New York was a factor, it got buried under all the exposition about them wanting their elixir of life. Maybe the Defender Season 1 is not this war for New York that we've been hearing about. Maybe that's still to come. Maybe this is a different thing altogether. Just that the show isn't clear in and illustrating that fact, so I just got to assume this is it. This is their big move. It doesn't ruin the show for me. It just made me go, all right, well, that's it. I kind of understand. Who doesn't fear death? Think you were overreacting a little bit, Stick. Guys, in the end, The Defenders was actually a lot of fun. You don't need to watch all of the shows leading up to The Defenders. You do need to watch the Daredevil seasons. It's not the smoothest ride. What I like about Daredevil is it's a lawyer drama that happens to have Daredevil as the lead. There's none of that in here. There is an ensemble of heroes that get together to fight bad guys. But it has a very human bad guy or bad lady in the form of Sigourney Weaver and some other things that tie into Matt Murdock's life. I really liked all of that. And while I want to call this Daredevil season 2.5, it is The Defenders. I will say check it out. It's 8 episodes, not a hard watch at all. But all right, guys, The Defenders season 1. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.